Hello, it's Ruby, and today I am going to be doing some Victorian Christmas traditional things. The Victorians are credited with creating the modern Christmas, and many of the big Christmas traditions that we have today come from the Victorians. I hope that you enjoy watching this and it gets you somewhat into the festive spirit. I'm starting off the day reading some classic locked room mysteries edited by David Stuart Davies. So in the early and mid-Victorian period, ghost stories were read at Christmas, not stories of goodwill and kindness and all of those themes that we tend to see in Christmas movies and books now. It was ghost stories, and these would be read aloud in the home. Christmas was a time for being frightened, and so you'd read them around the fire. I've lit our fire, cheating because it's a gas fire, not a normal fire. I'm reading these aren't ghost stories, but it's the closest that I had in my collection. And it feels really strange actually, because obviously I associate this kind of literature with Halloween, and it's the 22nd of December, so I feel like I should be reading something like The Nutcracker or Little Women or something. This feels very odd to be reading, definitely not my typical choice for December. But it's good, and I do like this collection. I'm also just about to tune in to the live reading of A Christmas Carol with the Dickens Museum. This is a prime example of a ghost story which was read aloud around Christmas time. Of course, in A Christmas Carol, Scrooge is visited by 3 ghosts, and so it very much incorporates those traditional stories of Christmas, but we also see modern Christmas stories enveloped within this too. So it's a really cool fusion piece between the two different types of Christmas literature. So, as I say, I tuned into Dominic Gerard's performance of A Christmas Carol. I saw it in person when I was 15, absolutely loved it, and was really excited to go again this year. Also, major imposter syndrome. I can't tell you why I was asked to do this, but I was actually invited to be on the panel at the end, having an informal conversation after the performance, which was really good fun. So I just tuned in 15 minutes early to talk with Dominic and the organisers, and then the performance began, and it was honestly incredible. A Christmas Carol is my favourite Christmas book. It's one of my favourite books of all time, actually. This is exactly, I think, how Dickens is supposed to be read. A Christmas Carol is one of the books that Dickens performed regularly, so Dickens was known for his public readings, and I really love how this performance helps us to see how A Christmas Carol maybe would have been received. There's this great piece in Sanders' newsletter from 1858 where it says, "When the readings by Charles Dickens have become a matter of history and the waves of time have rolled over the present marvellous era, there will be hundreds who to their children and grandchildren shall tell that they heard and saw the man who has painted life as it is in England, and to a great extent universal life, with a master hand." Dickens's public readings were notorious, and it's great seeing these brought to life again. Okay, I'm now, going to write a Christmas card. I've already written a Christmas card for this person. It's for my old English teacher, but I'm just going to add this into his card because I think it's quite fun. Christmas cards were invented in the Victorian period, and they had really unique, strange pictures on. There are so many jokes about the absurdity of Christmas cards. Classic Christmas cards now, you'll get a nice robin, you'll get a sleigh with some reindeer and a nice tree with some presents underneath. And yes, you do have the Victorian Albert classic drawing of them surrounding the Christmas tree. That was put on some Christmas cards, but most of the drawings are just weird and nothing to do with Christmas. So for example, there's this one. I don't see how that's a Christmas card, but Christmas cards were invented. The very first Christmas card was sent out by Henry Cole. This is his Christmas card. This was before colour printing was really a thing, especially mass coloured printing, and so the cards were printed in black and white, and then they were coloured in by somebody. He would have hired someone to colour them in, and really weirdly actually, can't find out who actually coloured in the first Christmas card. I asked my seminar leader for my Dickens module, and he said it was likely he would have hired a woman to do that. Again, we have another case of anonymous being basically meaning it was written by a woman or the work was done by a woman. So anyway, I've got this here. So I've got a black and white Christmas card, and I'm going to colour it in because that's what you would have to do. You'd have to do it by hand because colour printing wasn't a thing. Colour printing started to become a thing in like the 1880s and 90s. So you had like the drawings of Kate Greenaway. Her books were colour illustrated and she was known for her colour illustrations. Here we go. This is the card. I'm just gonna fold it in half. So this particular Christmas card is a picture of a Christmas pudding. Christmas puddings were very, very common on Christmas cards. It's like one of the most common things you could find on a Christmas card in the Victorian period, which is why I chose this one. I don't even know who this is supposed to be, actually. Let me know in the comments if you recognise this person. Is a Christmas pudding herself, like she's the head of a Christmas pudding. Plum puddings were basically the archetype of Britishness, which is really ironic as well because a plum pudding doesn't really have any ingredients which you find in England, like things that are notorious to England. The idea is with a plum pudding that it's like represents the British Empire. Whenever we look at the Victorian period, we cannot forget the fact that that England is operating part of an empire. The British Empire is very much alive and very much oppressive. The British Empire is a dark and shameful part of British history. Colonisers forced British systems, beliefs and governments onto countries. It's really important to remember that empire is very prevalent in the Victorian period and even in something seemingly innocuous like a Christmas pudding. And the British Empire is also a massive part of like national identity. Plum pudding is supposed to kind of incorporate all of like ingredients from lots of different countries which are all part of the British Empire, so it's a way of uniting the British Empire symbolically through food, but putting it under the guise of like plum pudding, which is an English dish. This quote here, the Christmas pudding is a gastronomic paradox, the most English of dishes made from the most un-English of ingredients. And actually in 1927 there was this royal endeavour, like obviously this is a lot later, but there was a royal endeavour to create a Christmas pudding using an ingredient from each country that was part of the British Empire. Yeah, it's very much linked to empire, the Christmas pudding. Question, do you actually like Christmas pudding? Because I think it's really disgusting. I've only had it once and I really didn't like it. I think it's more a tradition thing than people actually like it. That's my belief around Christmas pudding, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you actually do like Christmas pudding. Yeah, I'll just put some like weird examples anyway of Christmas cards which have Christmas puddings on because they are quite weird. I don't really know how to colour this in, to be honest. Like I thought this would go better than it has, to be honest. There we go. And Christmas cards wouldn't really have much of a message inside. I like to write really long messages, but they typically weren't. They were just something very basic like Happy Christmas. There we go, finished Christmas card. It's rather absurd. It looks kind of creepy with all the colour illustrations, and I don't even know if I should add this into my teacher's card. But I will, because I think he'll find it quite amusing. I'm actually getting my booster jab in an hour, and so on the way back I'm just going to drop in to drop off the Christmas card anyway. Next, I'm going to make some bookmarks for my mum's present. It was really common for gifts to be handmade in the Victorian period, and they would also be hung on the tree, which is what I'm going to do. So I'll put you on time lapse whilst I make those bookmarks now. I bought her Frankenstein, so these are all going to be Frankenstein themed bookmarks. Here are the Frankenstein bookmarks I made. Got 4 of these. Each of them has a quote on it. And I've just hole punched. So I will go get some string, tie this on, and then we can put them on the tree. So gift giving didn't actually used to be a part of the Christmas season and like tradition. And actually Father Christmas, who then became Santa Claus, like I didn't realise this, Santa Claus and Father Christmas are 2 different mythical figures. Initially, like Father Christmas was like the English pagan figure who wouldn't deliver gifts, but you'd leave gifts for him. Just to clarify, Father Christmas was basically described as a great receiver of goods by the Illustrated London News. You would leave him gifts, and then in return he would spread festive cheer to people. So, Old Father Christmas, as he was known for representing feasting and good cheer, and so during the rule of like Oliver Cromwell, it was like a very nostalgic thing, looking back to the good old days of Old Father Christmas. Also, really interestingly, Father Christmas as a figure is very much to do with adults and nothing to do with children. 18th century literature where Father Christmas is mentioned, it will never be in the context of children, which is such a difference to today. I will probably take these down actually and put them up on Christmas morning instead, because I don't want her to see them before Christmas, but that's just an example of what I will do. The next thing I'm going to do is a little bit of wrapping. I've actually done all of my Christmas wrapping, which is a bit unfortunate, but I wanted to try this hack of like how to wrap a handkerchief. So I'm just going to be wrapping one of my own handkerchiefs, which is, very not in the Christmas spirit. Basically, it says you need to cut an oval shape. Specifically, this is for handkerchiefs, which is quite strange. Yeah, as I was saying before, gift giving wasn't really a thing. It became a thing during the Victorian period, which makes sense because it's the growth of commodity culture. You know, the Victorian period is when we really start to see like a material obsessed world in the way that we have today. Dickens's literature is famous for it. You know, if you look at A Christmas Carol, when the Ghost of Christmas Present arrives, there is just abundance, and we list commodities. So Dickens describes like the barrels of oysters and the winking Spanish onions. He describes the decadence and the abundance of all of these like Christmassy things, but they are things. Like the marketplace, the Christmassy marketplace is still filled with things. We see it so much today as well. If you go to Covent Garden, if you go to a Christmas market, you'll say, oh, this is so Christmassy, but what about it is Christmassy? I think a large part of it is like the abundance of beautiful things, but it is all very material, all very like thing focused. Anyway, I've got my oval here. This is my handkerchief box, which only has one handkerchief in at the moment. These are jam toppers, which I will use for some jam I'm making my mum for Christmas. So what I'm going to do is first of all wrap this. This is a very crinkled handkerchief. It's got my name embroidered on, which is lovely. I should iron this, I'm sorry. But if it were an actual gift, I would, but I'm just intrigued to see how this works. And then put it in the middle of this. Do you roll it? I'm going to need to check this again, wait. Minneapolis Journal, this is in 1906, so it is Edwardian technically, it said, handkerchiefs can also be wrapped to look like the snapping crackers that are used at children's parties by rolling them in oblong bits of tissue paper fringed at both ends. So this is, wait. So this isn't tissue paper, but let's see if we can still get it to work here as well, which, I'm sorry, it's like such a short video, and I was hoping for it to be more formally done, like the other Victorian videos I've done, but I left it too late and so too close to Christmas, and I unfortunately don't have the time to like put together a really elaborate video. And also I do want to, I guess I could if I only prioritise that, but it's Christmas and the most important thing about Christmas is always being with your family, and I don't want to like neglect that for making a video, even if I think the video would be really fun and I do really want to share it with you. This is not working at all. And then you have to fringe it at the end, so let's just go like this. I mean, does it kind of cute? Not really. You're probably thinking, why did I even include this segment of the video, because that did not work at all. But the Victorians had loads of really cool ways of wrapping Christmas presents. So also they would use could make like snowballs out of cotton ball pads, and then hide the gift within it, which I think is such a cool idea. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. I'm uploading a morning routine on Christmas Eve, but other than that, I will see you after Christmas. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful lead up to Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, or I hope you're having a lovely holiday season. Happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. I hope you're having a wonderful day.